Hi, it's Majo John Madden, broadcasting from my hotel room in Victoria, Ciudad Victoria, Tamaulipas State, and Mexico. I've been in Mexico about 3 weeks and very excited to be here. I have a poem I want to offer to you, but a little intro about myself as a poet. I've done poetry since like 5th grade. And I'll tell the story about my evolution as a poet another place. But I've been doing poetry for a long time. When I moved to Asheville, North Carolina in 2004, a guy in Chicago who was an appreciator of my poems and also ran a sound studio, so he was about sounds. He said, I love your poetry, but it's mostly words. It is, that's what you do is words. And it gets kind of old, honestly. Could you try to do anything more in your poetry but just words? Throw in a clap. That's not a good clap. Throw in a clap. Something. So from 2004 till 2020, I attended a funky church, quite a prosperous, progressive church in Asheville. We'd have 200 to 300 people at each of 2 services on Sunday. So it was a big house for poetry. And 4 times a year, that's what was allowed. Each artist could, and it was very much about the arts. And every artist, whether they did storytelling or modern dance or original, if they were a singer-songwriter, 4 times a year is what you were allowed. And I pretty much did that for 16 years, 4 times a year, offered poems, mostly new ones. And I sure pushed the limits in terms of going beyond claps. Mostly I worked with 1 or more musicians each time. I ended up with 3 major poetry concerts, each working with musicians. The poem I'm about to offer I did solo, without music. And I also pushed the limits of the medium. I would say that it's poetry if you care about the words, if you try to make the words effective. And things that got introduced as poetry, we're about to have a 4-minute offering of poetry from Majo, sometimes would be more storytelling and sometimes more stand-up comedy. And it was such a funky church, and I'm such a kind of an offbeat guy, that oftentimes I would poke fun at the church and at myself as a poet, or at myself in general. This one is making fun of myself as a poet. So the poet in question here is no question me. And the title is, it takes from, the old jokes that start this guy walks into a bar. Okay, you may see the connection. This poet walks into a church. He's tan. He's rested. He's ready. He's got this in his hip pocket. He owns this place. He's going to dominate. He's going to rule. These are his people. This is his world. Today belongs to him. He slides into the hall, nods to some friends, grabs a few hugs. All the time he's thinking, you love me. You're going to love this. He finds a strategic seat facing Howard, the minister, where he and Howard can exchange knowing looks. You and me, babe, we're going to rock this joint today. No need to have anyone he knows sitting next to him. He needs to be calm. He needs to be focused. And then they're saluting the 4 directions. That's an ancient Native American thing that they did there. And he's going east. East is good. New stuff. They're opening themselves up to new stuff. My poem is new stuff. This works. South, pleasure, summer, warmth. I like this. This is getting them juicy. This is going to work. West, completion, ending, death. This is not helping me. Why do we go in this order? This is a bad way to move. I'm not liking this. North, cold, emptiness. Howard, can't we do this the other way around? Why do we have to do it this way? This is not supporting my cause. And then the choir sings. This is not good for a poet. The choir upstages me every time. All those voices, all that work they put into it, all that beauty, they finish singing and Howard is always going to say, you came on a good Sunday. And what does this say to me? All I can do is ruin it. And Howard will get up and say, sorry, I changed my mind. You actually did not come on a good Sunday. Or, you came on a half-good, half-assed Sunday. I wrote this poem when I was manic, and I used to actually believe that I had manic depression. I wrote this poem when I was manic, and it sounded great. Now I'm depressed, and I'm positive that it sucks. And even if it somehow doesn't suck, I can't deliver it. I will stumble all over my words. I will come through so depressed that people will cry inappropriately. By the end of the poem, people will feel like life is totally meaningless. It's supposed to be a funny poem. It's not one of those poems where I need to warn people. This is not a funny poem. Don't laugh. This time I have to say, laugh. Laugh already. Be prepared to laugh. Get your laugh juices running because I'm going to be crushed if you don't laugh. Howard's giving him that look like, you're going to let me down today, aren't you? I know it. You've hit home runs every other time, but today's the day that I regret letting you do poetry here. He goes to the prayer wall, they have a prayer wall, and gets a prayer from Jay Joslin, who is a great guy, and says, Jay, I am shitting my pants. I can't do this today. I don't have it memorized. I don't like it anyway. And Jay says, Lord, help this poor wretch. Only you can get him through this. He, so obviously, is not up to the task. Oh, thanks, Jay. I knew you'd give me just the support I needed. And then Shem does this chant and gets people so hypnotized that there's no way they will laugh. He takes them into this altered state of consciousness that's good for him, but not good for the poet that follows him. They just get happy, and they don't care about a poem. Forget the poem, they say. I just want to stay right where I am. This is so mellow, so sweet. Shem, I hate you. And where's the microphone? I wanted the headset microphone, but didn't tell Mark. Now I'll have to use that stupid handheld microphone. When I'm using that, you can see my hands shake. With the headset microphone, I look like Madonna. It's so cool. It's time. Do or die. Showtime. He goes to the lectern. Stupid, clunky microphone in his hand. The room is filled with people whose names I don't remember. Some of them have told me their names 3 times or more. Some of them I have known their names for months or years, but now have forgotten them. They hate me for not remembering their names. I deserve them to hate me. May they forget my name. Babe alert. Totally hot woman at 3 o'clock. Who is she? Have I met her before? I think I met her, and I don't remember her name. Remember her name. Remember her name. I see no guy with her. Maybe my poem will make her fall madly in love with me. Maybe she'll come up to me afterwards and say how much she loved the poem and what a total stud I am. When was the last time a woman said that to you at Jubilee or anywhere? Well, they say they love the poem, and I know what that really means. Well, maybe at least I can find her when we exchange the piece and cop a hug. Oh, no, forget about it. I'm here to serve God. Get back to God. Back to God. Oh, not a crying baby. I hate crying babies. They totally blow my game. Uh-oh, I left out a line. Oh, geez, how much did I leave out? Quick, does what I'm saying make any sense without the line I left out? Can I work in another sentence that gets things back on track? You know you can't write a line of poetry right on the spot. Oh, screw it, it's poetry. You're not supposed to understand it. And then the poem is over and he has no idea if any of it made any sense. And then it's the exchange of the piece and people are giving him big squeezes and whispering, That's exactly what I needed to hear. And Howard's message is all about surrender, about God being bigger than us. And then the service is over. And in between all kinds of people saying they love the poem, that beautiful woman comes up to him and says, I bet you don't remember me, but we were in a support session for bipolar disorder. And I saw it all in you today, the mania, the depression. I saw you brilliant. I saw you deeply flawed. You're just like me. And I have learned that our flaws are the most beautiful, most lovable part. So I love you. Then she gives him a long, lingering, excruciatingly beautiful hug. Then he stumbles back out into the street and goes home. And he thinks about all this for a long